Deuteronomy 7 verse 15, verse breakdown. And the Lord will take away from you all sickness. The subject is clear, the Lord. Healing and preservation are presented as God's direct action, not human achievement. Take away implies removal of authority, not merely temporary relief. Sickness is treated here as something that can be lifted off a people when God intervenes. This frames health as a covenant benefit, not a random outcome. And none of the evil diseases of Egypt, which you knew. Egypt represents a system of bondage, oppression, and exposure to destructive conditions. The diseases of Egypt were familiar to Israel because they lived under that system for generations. The phrase, which you knew, emphasizes experience. These were not theoretical threats but lived realities. God is promising separation from what once normalized suffering. Will He inflict on you? This clarifies that those diseases functioned as judgments within Egypt. God is declaring a change in jurisdiction. What was once permitted under bondage will no longer be imposed under covenant. The verse draws a firm line between life under oppression and life under God's rule. But will lay them on all who hate you. This is a statement of divine justice, not personal vengeance. God reallocates consequences according to alignment. Opposition to God and hostility toward His people place individuals under a different moral and spiritual outcome. The verse reinforces that covenant brings protection, while persistent resistance to God carries consequences. Core message. Deuteronomy 7 verse 15 teaches that covenant alignment changes what governs a person's life. God removes affliction associated with former systems and establishes His people under a different order, one marked by preservation rather than oppression. The verse is less about comfort and more about authority, who rules, who protects, and who bears responsibility for the outcome. Sermon, the Lord who removes affliction. Text, Deuteronomy 7 verse 15. And the Lord will take away from you all sickness, and none of the evil diseases of Egypt, which you knew, will He inflict on you, but will lay them on all who hate you. 1. Context, covenant, not comfort. Deuteronomy 7 is not a generic promise of ease. It is spoken to a covenant people on the edge of conquest. God's assurance of health is tied to obedience, verse 11-12. This matters. The verse is not a blank check for comfort, but a covenantal consequence of loyalty to God. Remove the covenant, and the verse is misused. Keep the covenant, and the promise has weight. 2. The Lord will take away, God as